International Rugby League, live.
One down, one to go. Great Britain one up on France in the two-test series. But what a test for Malcolm Reilly's side without the Wigan trio of Hanley, Gregory and Lydon. It's British strength and Gallic flair. Great Britain against France, the second test live from Headingley. The French have already shown they're a match for the best.
The best of British was reserved for first when the two met in Perpignan 3 weeks ago. Martin O'Fire beating the French cover with weeks to spare in the opening minutes of the first test. Cue the floodgates. But this is a French team with more resistance than most. Their rugby union counterparts are known for their dash and flair. They're not the only ones now. Britain consigned them to defeat with the order of the boot. 2 Gary Schofield penalties were the difference on the old scoreboard. But the facts of life don't tell you everything. Another try would have given the French a lethal share of the spoils. They scored one, but it was disallowed. Wrongly, the referee later admitted. The ball touched a British hand last. The hand of God was on our side this time.
The Hull coach Brian Smith is on international duty with us. Did the result of that first test surprise you?
I think we were all very pleasantly surprised, because all of us who care about rugby league really want to see a rejuvenation in French rugby league. But I think it was the most important part was the style, the discipline that France showed. It was great to see. 6 changes in the Great Britain lineup. Surely that will take them time to settle this afternoon. Yeah, it's a real test for them, and a real test of Malcolm Reilly's skills for them to show what's needed to be shown against what we hope again is a disciplined French team. I saw you in print this week criticising the amount of rugby we're playing, the injuries we've had. Is that a direct result of playing too much? Definitely. Some of those injuries are preventable injuries, and the program that our best players, our super players have to play in this country is ridiculous. The better ones are punished because their teams generally do well in the cup, they do well in the league, and then they have to back up for representative duties. It's just too much. The price of success. Certainly a new look Great Britain side. No fewer than 6 changes from the team that started the first test. A new captain too, Wigan's Shaun Edwards at 23, taking charge for the first time. He made his Great Britain debut at 18. He captained the under-21 side. This would seem to be a natural progression. It's just been a matter of time before Shaun Edwards captained his country. He's always led from the front. Today he's in charge of a side short on international experience, but aware of the stakes involved.
Professional footballers don't need me to tell them that they're playing for Great Britain places for tour spots. They know that. You know, they're adults. I'll just be trying to remind them, really as my position as scrum half, really, of what I expect, you know, around the play the balls and, you know, tight marker defence and stuff like that.
The defensive side of his own game has developed under John Money.
Well, I've had to do a lot more tackling recently, yeah. I think I've been doing over 20 tackles a game, but probably, you know, you don't get much recognition for that kind of work, you know, but hopefully, I mean, if you could get everything perfect, you could do the tackling and make the breaks and score the tries as well. That's when you're really in the business, aren't you?
Edwards has been critical of the tough schedule imposed on British rugby league players. He's considered playing in Australia full-time.
If you're playing on the wing or something like that, maybe it's not too bad, but if you're in the middle of that park, it's not just physically, it's mentally. Trying to get yourself psyched up for a game twice, even 3 times a week sometimes is, you know, it's pretty tall order. And I think the Aussies certainly have an advantage over us in that respect. I mean, they only play, 24 games a season.
Edwards personally tasted the might of the French tackling in Perpignan. The second test is now being viewed in a different light.
I would like to think of it as a build-up to the New Zealand or a build-up to Australia. I think the French are such serious opposition now that just to beat France at Headingley will be a triumph in itself.
Well, Shaun Edwards has led his side onto the pitch. Despite what he said there, Brian, there are a few players in the Great Britain side who are really playing for places on that New Zealand tour.
I'd like to think so. It's very hard to know what the management of the Great Britain squad are actually thinking at the moment about the selection of the touring squad. There's some controversial selections in today's team, but I'm sure they'll have a lot of pride. I mean, if you don't have pride in playing for your country, you've got a real problem.
Well, let's switch to look at the French side that impressed so many people. The key partnership would seem to be at halfback, as Gilles Dumas, Patrick Onta.
My word, I was very, very impressed with these two in the last game in particular. Juma and Onta have got a very good all-round game. I thought they were both very busy in the game. We see the kicking skills here of Juma, really picking up a lot of yardage there, and the style with which they played was very good. Look at the width in their passing here.
They certainly like to throw the ball around, don't they?
They do, and it's the precision. Look at the pass again here, right on the chest. It gave them the opportunity to attack right down the flanks. And here's a really skillful piece of play. Onta again, beautiful pass onto the chest. And he too can kick the ball.
There's nothing more soul-destroying for forwards when that kind of kick sets you back on your heels.
It complements a strong forward game that they had, and it opened up lots of attack for their backs as well.
The tackling was a revelation, wasn't it?
Well, you look at some of these here. Boy, Andy Gregory met with some fierce, and as did Hanley. Look at that, again, a good tackle underneath. They put their bodies on the line, the French, in the last game, and good technique as well. First man underneath, second man high to kill the ball. Some reputations and some egos were jolted up in France.
But they say the French don't travel well. Can we expect to see that type of commitment this afternoon?
Well, everybody tells me that Jacques Jourda, the French coach, has put a new form of discipline into this French team, and it's certainly to be hoped that they bring it here to Headingley today.
Yeah, certainly it's not going to be an easy game, but France haven't beaten Great Britain for 5 years. During that time, their game has laboured under the shadow of its more illustrious rugby union counterpart. But the result in Perpignan showed that France still have a great deal to offer at international level. The French have been in confident mood since they arrived in this country on Thursday. Rugby league is flourishing in the country despite the lack of media coverage. They surprised a number of people with their performance in the first test. They have a number of surprising characters in the side.
Well, it's starting to get known in the south part of France, but I think the rugby union's got the press and the level above us. Games like we did in Perpignan's helping the league, but we're still a long way from it.
That must be the best the French team's played against Great Britain for some time.
So we've voted, they reckon it's the best it's been in 10 years. We've got a good group around our coach Jack, which is helping us along, and morally it's doing us a lot of good. Like I said before, we're playing for us personally because the press really doesn't give a damn about us. And we're trying to prove to them that we are a worthwhile team. And we're trying to represent our country in the best of ways.
In truth, French rugby union is the nation's sporting passion. It's also a professional passion that picks up the best players from rugby league.
We had to fight the courts to be called rugby because we used to be called a game of 13, which is pretty silly, but while they've got their president of the union in control, we won't be able to do anything.
But they tried to poach your players. They offer money to your players.
Yeah, they poached a couple of our players, and they're still trying to poach. I've had a few offers. A few of the French guys here have had a few offers. But, we were there for league, and we can't do much about that, can we?
Can you really hope to beat Great Britain here?
As I say, we've got nothing to lose. We know it's a very talented side, and we'll just go out and do our best.
You're quietly confident, I think.
No, it's just really we've got nothing to lose. So we've got no pressure, and we're just hoping we can do something.
We're minutes away from kick-off between Great Britain and France. In the background, you hear the strains of the British national anthem. Moment indeed. Phil Lauder's our man on the inside today. Phil, what was the mood in the Great Britain dressing room?
Well, the mood's pretty good, but make no mistake, we've got one hell of a test match on our hands today. We're going to try and physically dominate them. We're looking for an improved kicking game from in Perpignan, with Sean Edwards and Graham Steadman kicking the ball deep into their 22, and then a strong, aggressive defence, reminiscent of the defence that we had in the second and third tests against New Zealand.
Phil Lauder, thanks very much. Phil Lauder down on the touchline, Clive Tilsley up in the commentary box.
Thank you, Rob. Down to business then, the business of dealing with a French renaissance and the business of booking seats on the Great Britain Summer Tour. Those 6 changes forced on Malcolm Reilly from the first test. Opportunity knocking for Caudle, Gibson, Steadman, England, Betts and Fairbank. They start the day with just 1 full cap between them. 8 of the team are Yorkshire-based. Serving under a Lancastrian captain, though, Wigan's Sean Edwards has been told that he has total responsibility for organising the British effort this afternoon. The French lineup is virtually the same as in Perpignan. David Fraisse, linked with both Lee and Wigan recently, has switched from centre to fullback, though. Believe it or not, it's a team that boasts more test cap than Britain's. The French did make a somewhat curious request for a British referee, but New Zealander Jim Stokes is again in charge. He had a fine game at Central Park in our last Rugby League Live between Wigan and Widnes. Nobody in the British side today has ever experienced a test defeat at the hands of the French. It's 5 years since that's happened. France have lost the last 8, but they've never been closer than that 8-4 defeat in Perpignan last month. And this is a full-blooded test match. This is no warm-up for future events. The little French standoff half, Gilles Dumas, of whom we will see so much this afternoon, the man of the match in Perpignan 3 weeks ago, gets us underway. One of the things that Britain are looking for are more support for Kelvin Skerritt, the big Bradford Northern number 8, in driving the ball up. It's something Britain didn't do well in the first test. But he'll get plenty of support from the likes of Keith England this afternoon. Here is Skerritt. All 16 stones of him. Graham Steadman forced onto his right foot and indeed caught by Dumas and onto the two half-backs. Steadman's a left-footed kicker and he couldn't get that one away. Alan Tate. Here is Steadman with a bit more time this time. And a first test for the stand-in fullback David Fred. He much prefers to play in the centre. Hugh Gratier, the skipper, on the right wing. Offside. Great Britain not retiring the 5 metres from the play of the ball. Jim Stokes very, very firm in that department. This is Dumas. And Beardmore did well to keep that in. The ball's gone forward. So the first scrum. Monta and Dumas combined. Prez the fullback. Molinaire, the rangy loose forward. Britain penalised again. Carl Fairbank that time. And the French will kick for goal, something they did very poorly in the first test match. 5 attempts at goal, 5 misses, and that was the difference in the end, Brian Smith.
It was indeed, as well as a couple of refereeing decisions, which when you see on the replay, they were a little hard done by. I'm very impressed again with their opening. The defence has been spot on, good solid tackling, putting pressure on the kicker. Forwards have looked very strong so far. Great opening for France so far.
Mulready, the Great Britain coach, was less than happy with his team's performance in France last month. He felt they were exposed defensively, particularly wide out. They've been doing a lot of work on that. As Phil Larder was saying, he wants a much more effective kicking game. And he's looking for fewer handling errors too. Dumas then. And again it drifts wide of the post. And is this to be the French undoing again this afternoon? Brest gathering that well. He had 1 or 2 problems under the high ball during their final training session here in Leeds yesterday morning. I think Steadman and Edwards will be mindful of that. Gibson's managed to wrestle the ball free there. Offside against the French this time. Jim Stokes, the referee, said that he was having some trouble with the language barrier. The French make about as much effort to learn English as we do to learn French, and down in the southwest corner they don't have quite the same international contacts as they do up in Paris. I think a Frenchman's second language is his body language.
the universal language in rugby league is that whistle. I'm sure Jacques Jourda won't be very impressed with that, although I thought the referee was very keen to give a penalty there for 5 metres. I think he's trying to show both teams who's the boss already.
Graham Steadman's been rattling up points for the fun of it in the last few weeks for Castleford. It's a very similar kick to the one that Dumas missed a moment or so ago. Graham Steadman registered his first international points, and Great Britain take the lead by that cultured left foot of the Castleford standoff half. The world's most expensive rugby league player, £170,000 now, his transfer fee from Featherstone. The last 25 of that will be paid over as a result of his first Great Britain cap today. So 2 points for Mal Reilly's team, and possession again. Sean Edwards, Keith England, one of 3 Castleford men in the team. There's one of the others, Beardmore, to Edwards. Back to Tate to kick this time. David Frace. Been stolen there by Fairbank, but he's been penalised.
I thought it was obviously Mr. Stokes has given a call that the player was held, and he's certainly given plenty of time. This is just, some players just never learn, do they? I mean, they're playing for their country. Bite your lip, boys.
Yes, they've been forced back another 10 metres by the referee for a word out of place. And another example of French improvement when they beat Great Britain in an open-age amateur international at Lille last night. Molinaire, the loose forward. Ontin. Clever kick. In behind Gerald Caudle. Patrick Gontor, the French Player of the Year last season. And they scrum down no more than 15 yards from the Great Britain line. Gregory collecting at the base of the scrum. Taken on by Dennis Betts this time. Only 2 Wiganers in the Great Britain lineup. Look at that French tackling again. The referee's had a long, hard look at it, and he's felt that Keith England was being held down by the hooker, Valero. Got a lovely, effortless kicking action, Graham Steadman. Fairbank taking it on strongly, but losing the ball. Gathered by Dennis Biennes. French coach is Jacques Jourda. You wouldn't know he was French, would you? They've got a gravelly voice to go with it too, ladies. Eight and a half minutes gone. Great Britain leading by 2 points to 0. This is Jean-Luc Rabot. He's taken over from his clubmate Max Chantal as the hard man in the French pack. Nice movement of the ball. Capistani coming wide. One of the 2 lock forwards. It's the 5th tackle. Ontin. That's a clever little kick into space. Dennis Betts couldn't claim it at the first attempt, did at the second. Gerald Caudle's first touch in International Rugby League. It's only his 31st game in the professional code, and it's his Great Britain debut. Here's the other winger, Martin O'Fire. French knew all about his pace from the first test. Gregory onto Skerritt and Schofield outside him.
Very disciplined line again by the French. Even though O'Fire had pushed out of 3 or 4 tackles, they'd still moved up very well on the outside.
Stedman. Tate in the line. Out to O'Fire. Support from his witness teammate, Alan Tate. Edwards. Schofield chasing. Dumas back there with him, and he'll just win the race. Well, that cameraman's glad he came. And I think little Dumas has come off second best there. He's hurt his left wrist. And this could be really bad news for France. He's clearly in some pain.
I'm always on about safety of players, and I think that those people there are just too close. There's no reason why they can't sit on the fence. That'd be a shocking way to lose a key player like Dumas. Any player, for that matter.
Receiving treatment from Jacques Lopez, the French physiotherapist. Play continuing. French down to 12 for now. Mike Gregory. Delaunay was just trying to script the ball back, I think. And it's an offence which could cost France 2 more points. Dumas is back with us, although still holding that left hand rather consciously. He actually captained the team against New Zealand earlier in the season when Ratier, the winger, was missing. And he's a key man. Here's his opposite number, Graham Stedman. Already 100 tries and 1,000 points in top-class rugby league. He's a points machine. A machine just missing out there for the moment. But the French can't afford to give Stedman opportunities. His first penalty, still the difference between the two sides. Almost 12 minutes gone. And Great Britain lead by 2 points to 0. Alan Tate. England spilling the ball. Boutignon very alert. Cabestany, who's this season's Player of the Year in France, the young second row forward. Well, Dumas' hands seem to be okay now. Can't say the same if Ratier's there. Delaunay just trying to dribble it on.
Some very sloppy attacking football from both teams. A very ordinary pass out of acting half saw Keith England lose the ball on first tackle for Great Britain, and Mel really won't be very impressed with that. That's not his impressive look, by the way.
Edwards reeled in by Ontar, his opposite number. Dennis Betts. Edwards. Mike Gregory. O'Fire collects. He's always prepared to take the ring road to find some open field.
I think he was on the roundabout the wrong way there, Clive.
Beardmore of Castleford. Edwards of Wigan. Trying to find out place again. And they did. But he can run with the ball, this lad. This is why Alex Murphy wants to sign him.
Spoiled it all. Just lovely footwork and some strength. Used the fend to get him away, but then pushed into touch.
He actually starts his military service, a compulsory military service in May. So any Great Britain clubs with their eye on David Fraser will have to wait for 12 months.
I was going to say Sergeant Major Murphy might fix that up for him.
Gibson. We'll be seeing him in the title crunch match on Tuesday night at Central Park, the lead centre pairing. in Great Britain action today. Gibson number 4 and Schofield number 3. Dennis Betts will be playing against them for Wigan in possession. On fire. Gibson outside him. Bounce back off Skerritt for Edwards. Steadman, great tackle.
Great tackle.
5th of the drive. Schofield. Tate, great break, got support. Went forward though, won't count. Well, pass from Gary Schofield was adjacent.
And a 5th tackle play, a 5th tackle error there, so a handover by Mr. Stokes. I'll be interested in this replay. I'm not sure if I certainly didn't feel it was a forward pass at the time, but Mr. Stokes is on the ball. Ah, yeah, he's right. 1 for New Zealand, none for Australia.
Only Jim Stokes' second test match, that first one in Perpignan 3 weeks ago. The abattoir worker from Christchurch. Good strong British challenge, winning the ball back. Keith England. Betts. Just signs now of Britain beginning to elude the first tackle.
Yeah, too many missed tackles just over the last few minutes.
Skerritt to Edwards. An extra little 5 yards which he managed to snap up there, having avoided the first tackle. Gregory. Ooh, he had his mind in 2 places at once there.
French have been required to do quite a bit of work. A few missed tackles there over the last few minutes. The first up tackles, they've scrambled okay to cover things up, but you can see it's 6 and 7 that have done the work. Cabastanet as well, Valero, Rabo, Beardmore the only one figuring in the top 6.
Here is Patrick Ontard. Molyneux. Skerritt in strongly, the ball loose again, and Britain have got it back. Kevin Beardmore. Steadman. Edwards. Gibson holding on well. Good position. 17 minutes gone. Dennis Betts. Mike Gregory calling a move outside Edwards. Missing out Gregory. Lovely long ball to Steadman. Gary Schofield. Now a chance for Gerald Caudle. Oh, he's got so much power. And he's got his first try for Britain. 17 minutes into his debut. And the man that the Welsh Rugby Union selectors missed out on has made immediate impact in the international professional game. Gerald Caudle of Bradford Northern.
It's the width of the passing here by the British team, particularly this pass. Even though he turns his back, look at the width on that pass to Steadman. They had the numbers. Caudle has a real problem with catching, but that pass was spot on from Gary Schofield, and Caudle has no problem with running and strength. That's a great try.
He's 14.5 stones, Caudle, and if once you get the ball in his hands and getting moving in the right direction, he's a big, big man to be stopping. And that's his 27th try since his £80,000 move from Cardiff Rugby Union in the close season. And the gamble's paid off already for Mal Reilly with Gerald Caudle. Difficult kick for Steadman, but on his favoured side for the left-footed kicker. Not quite. But Great Britain in a healthy situation, leading by 6 points to 0. Steadman's penalty followed by Caudle's try. (6-0) then to Great Britain. The upturn in French fortunes was signposted with home and away victories over the Great Britain under-21 team last season, both of which have been avenged this season. But they stretched New Zealand in the first test back in November. They led 14-0 in that match before going down by just 2 points. They pushed Great Britain so close in Perpignan. But can they put their travelling problems behind them now they face a 6-point deficit? Rabot, Antin. Well taken by Molinaire. Skerritt really getting stuck in. Pills for a fumble, knock on there. Kabastani. Dumas. Antin. On by Molinaire. Now a little bit of space. Delaunay might make the break himself. Held 5 yards short. 5th tackle. Big moment for the French. Antin, little kick looking for Dumas, charged down by Sean Edwards, but 6 more, it's back in French hands. Taken on strongly this time by Jean-Luc Rabot. Dumas, Fraisse. Oh, there's crossing there. French have been penalised. Fraisse can't believe it. They won't forget Jim Stokes in a hurry, will they, the French? But the New Zealand referee spotted some crossing, somebody running in front of Fraisse in order to take a Great Britain defender away. Here's Dumas. Now the ball's in Fraisse's hands, and there you see it's the number 4 BNS who's causing the problems. Rightly penalised. Kelvin Skerritt. Keith England. Stedman. Rugby League live from Headingley in Leeds. The second test match, Great Britain in possession and leading by 6 points to 0. Carl Fairbank of Bradford Northern. And Dennis Betts. Cold fingertips. There's Kelvin Skerritt, and there's Betts behind him. Big fair head, Wigan second row.
Bit of a test here now for the French. They're a little disappointed there. A decision or 2 went against them. Almost a try or 2 as well. So now they've got to fight back. Let's see if they've got the character to do that.
That was a mistake by Delaunay that was costly. Gibson has possession. Gregory. Big week for him already, captaining Warrington to the Challenge Cup final. Schofield. Keith England. Skerritt. Fairbank. England. Caudle waiting hopefully. Carl Fairbank again. Much more fluency about Great Britain. Beardmore. Edwards. Betts. Alan Tate supporting magnificently. What a good try. Where did he come from? Great work by the Great Britain back row to set that up. And Alan Tate biding his time and popping up for his 4th international try in only his 5th international appearance.
Some good sustained attack here. Beardmore filling in, taking first pass. Here's Edwards putting Betts onto the ball very straight, but put this try down to Betts. That's a great ball over the top. Alan Tate, as always, got his nose right where the ball has to, where his nose has to be to score a try. That's a very, very classy try, scored by some very classy players. It's just the French defence has just fallen away that fraction. You can't do it in a test match like of this calibre against players of this good. You just can't afford to miss this many first-up tackles.
And Alan Tate's try has been improved from beneath the post by Graham Stedman. One costly error in Perpignan, which led to the French try, put down to Tate, but he had a pretty good game otherwise over in France. He started the return test very well. 12-0. Just over 24 minutes gone. Caudle.
We see the problem for the French team here is, look at the number of defenders who are stuck here. The quick play the ball by Great Britain and the movement of it here. We see Betts do the business, but put this also down to a quick play the ball. You see the French defence is now caught very short out here. Oh, Dumas looked a little bit frightened to take someone on there. I wouldn't have liked to stop Tate myself. He was very straight and strong.
Alan Tate's try. 12-0 Great Britain lead. 25 minutes gone. So far, so good for Maurili, Phil Larder and company. I spent last night at their headquarters on the outskirts of Leeds, and they've gone about their job very professionally. It's been a very thorough build-up. They seem to have learnt the lessons of Perpignan. It's been a heartening opening quarter for Great Britain Rugby League. Dumas. Still got a trick or two up his sleeve, and Caudle lost that for a moment. Cyril Pons was almost in. It may well fall for BNS. Caudle slightly out of position then, and Pons may just try and get in there himself. Line well defended. On top. I mean, that was something they'd been working on in training, was it?
Only a Frenchman could do that.
Here he is, Dumas. Got plenty of people running off him on the short side, but Molinaire couldn't hang on. Dumas collected himself, but the ball had gone forward.
It's just let them down a little, hasn't it? The last pass, catching the ball in a vital stage. They've got the numbers on Great Britain a few times, and we saw it down the other side. They just haven't been able to finish it off.
So they've missed 5 times as many tackles as Great Britain. Oh, fire.
And that's perhaps why you can see that Great Britain have had almost half as much again as the French team. That causes France's defence to be really stretched. They haven't been quite good enough so far.
Not for Jacques Journoud to think about. He runs a restaurant and a cinema back home in Perpignan. Forward pass by Betts to a fire.
And that should be a penalty. He was in an offside position when he caught that ball. That was a poor piece of play by a fire, because the inside players had done very well to create the space. He didn't come onto that ball like he should have. He was cheating a yard or two. It's not as if he needs to for pace, is it?
Scrum down though. Molinaire. Nice move coming from the base of the scrum to collect his standoff's pass. Here's Daniel Diver. We haven't seen too much of him so far. He's the guy who was brought up in Australia, where we were hearing from before the match. Boutignon, Ontin. And there's that Edwards defence we were hearing about before the game too. Valero, the hooker. Molinaire. Mike Gregory. Wasn't going to offload that, was he? Half-back still functioning well, though, and Dumas worked an overlap here, and Cyril Pons has just got to catch it to score. Beautiful work by Dumas, finished off extravagantly by Cyril Pons. And France are back in business. And Pons, who got that try for France in Perpignan 3 weeks ago, has got another here on British soil. Look at the way that Dumas fooled the Great Britain defence. Just a suspicion there that maybe, again, BNS, the centre, took a couple of Great Britain defenders out off the ball. But Pons finished it off so well. Scored on this ground 2 years ago for France. It's his 5th international try. Real character ponds. Dumas building sandcastles. Let's have another look at that try.
I know Clive Tilsley's a fairly suspicious person, but he doesn't have to be too suspicious to work out the obstruction that occurs just here. You're spot on, Clive Tilsley. Rugby League Clive it is. Rugby League Clive from Headingley.
Well, Ponce has not only scored, but his try's been improved from the touchline by Dumas. Extraordinary kick. They've missed just about everything in front of the post. And now Dumas has popped one over from the touchline. And France have halved the Great Britain lead to 12-6.
Now we've got a game. The French have come back a little here. They can control the ball for the rest of this half. They can really stretch the British defence a little more. They might be able to really stretch them to the point of winning this test match.
Oh, but Ontas spilled the ball right on his try line. And just when you build yourself up, you knock yourself down, and there's no excuse for that.
A simple ball to catch that one.
Edwards has claimed it. I think they'd be hoping for something a little bit more from a scrum in that position. Maybe they can work it here from the play of the ball. Gibson doing a little bit of shepherding there. Seems to be all the rage today. On fire. Edwards. Stedman. Skerritt out wide. Now try tackling him. Offloaded to Gregory. Kept alive for Martin O'Fire. Somehow he's found all the French cover on that side. Try the other. Gary Schofield put down by England. French have got it back, so advantage played. Divet. Good tackling there initially by Fairbank. Beardmore completing the job on Boutillon. Rabot, the other prop forward, summarily dealt with by England and Betts. Oh, this is much better defence from Great Britain. 5 tackles. I don't think the idea there was for Divet to kick. I think he was most surprised man on the field. Maybe even more surprised if that bounces into touch. Daniel Divet, who was born in France, but his parents emigrated to Australia when he was just 10 months old. He's only returned in the last 5 years. He's married a French girl now, and he's very much a part of the scene over there. Good player.
Played for the Manly Warringah club in Australia. Quite progressed to first grade, but he seems to have developed.
Caudle. The 2 wing spots, I think, probably still up for grabs. Ball up for grabs. Here's Caudle trying to grab one of those touring places. Malcolm Reilly watching on the bench. Has been quite satisfied with the way your team has started.
We're making far too many mistakes on the ball, I'm afraid. Our control is very poor, and we're tending to play far too deep in our own half instead of using the elements at the moment, which we're playing down in their 25.
Defence a lot better though, Malcolm.
The defence was committed when we first came out, but he seems to have slacked off a bit now. I think they've got to pick the tempo up for sure.
Demanding man, isn't he? Quite rightly so. This is the pride of British Rugby League. Standards are high, and they've got to be high with the Aussies on the way. This is a much improved French side, much improved. Here's Keith England. They call him Beefy. Can't think why.
There's what Malcolm's talking about. Great Britain have actually made more, but I think the French, you'd find, if you had a look at the the tackle count there, you'd find that the French have made their errors on the first and second tackle. Great Britain, far too many, just the same.
12-6 Great Britain lead. This is Valero, the French hooker. Molinaire. A little bit ambitious. That was a good pass from Edwards. Kelvin Skerritt trying to grab one of those wing spots, I think. It's getting wider and wider. Mike Gregory. It's his 12th consecutive test match for Great Britain. A longer run than anybody else in the squad at the moment. Dennis Betts. Last 5 minutes of this first half. Steadman. Gibson a little bit late in starting the chase. Dropouts from the 25. Jourdain adopting the Kenny Dalglish touchline stance. Molinaire, good break. Ooh, if he could have got that away to Ontar, there were problems. Here's Valero trying to resurrect the move. Dive, good stuff. Ontar. Valero. Well appreciated by the Headingley crowd. And Great Britain offside. Now, do the French dare trust their place kicking again? Or do they go for 6? They're going for 2.
Well, they should have picked a place kicker who can kick a goal from there if they didn't. No, they're going to take it, Clive. Although it's a change of kicker.
Dumas was obviously dissatisfied with the one that he kicked from the touchline a moment or so ago. He's obviously a around-the-corner kicker and prefers kicking from the left-hand side of the field. So David Fraisse here will try. That was good play, though. My
word, he's a player of some calibre, this Molinaire. I've been impressed with him before. He actually played under-23s in reserve grade football with Penrith a few years ago on a scholarship scheme out in Australia and was very impressive in doing so. And that's a lovely ball from Dive. Gee, these blokes that have had some Aussie experience are doing well, Clive, aren't they? Clive, come on, laugh at me.
David Fraisse, who as far as I know has never been to Australia in his life. Oh, and a toe kicker. And an effective toe kicker too.
That's actually an Australian style of kicking.
It's certainly a throwback, isn't it? And it's certainly worth 2 points to France, and it's narrowed the gap to 4. And they've kicked 2 more goals than they did 3 weeks ago, that's for sure. 12 points to 8 to Great Britain.
Control the ball, France, here. Control the catch, get the ball out, good set of 6. We might see a really good test match here yet.
So Fraisse's penalty brings France back within a try. And Jourdain has to rewrite his half-time team talk. Ontar holding on that time. And here's Ratier, the skipper. Running with a lot more purpose again now, France. Dive. He's got to be stopped. Valero. Oh, I'm glad Fairbank missed him.
He nearly did the Valero there.
Gregory hanging on high so that the player can't smuggle the ball away, but then you need a low tackle quickly to stop him making progress. Dumas. Well, that's just bounced in. Alan Tate watching it carefully.
Well, that's a much improved set of 6 from France. A great catch from the kick-off. Winger got the ball away well. Some good play the balls in, although a very slow play the balls, I thought. But Dumas seems to have so much time to kick the ball. Lovely striker, isn't he?
We're inside the final minute of the first half, and that whistle can't come soon enough for Great Britain at this moment in time. Well, they have the ball from the scrum. Stedman, Tate.
Much better French defence there. It has to be with Alan Tate from scrums.
Britain have just got to play these out. No mistakes now. 45 seconds of error-free rugby league will take them into the interval with a 4-point lead. Keith England. Edwards. That's where they want to play, down there. Made his Great Britain debut here as an 18-year-old 5 years ago, Sean Edwards. There's the half-time hooter. And Edwards' team go into the interval with a lead, but not too much appreciation from the crowd who've warmed to the French comeback. Great Britain started brightly. Gerald Caudle and Alan Tate scoring excellent tries. But France, having had one disallowed, then scored a rather controversial one through Cyril Pons in the corner. And that straight-on penalty by David Fraisse has brought them back to within 4 points at the interval. The half-time scoreline here in the second test at Headingley. Great Britain 12, France 8.
To 8 in a tight second test match. Phil Larder and Malcolm Reilly coaxing the players. 3 tries in that first half. 2 to Great Britain, 1 to France. Here's Brian Smith.
Saw a mistake-riddled first half, really, but one of the best tries we saw was Gerald Caudle playing his first game. Circle Sean Edwards there, and look at the length of this pass that goes right across. Also watch the repercussions of that long pass is that all of these French defenders are sliding sideways, trying to stop the try. Look at the width of that pass. Stedman's lovely ball, and see the numbers. 3-on-2 on the outside. That's enough for Caudle to do the business. Hits the accelerator. A poor tackle, really, from Pons, and Caudle scored his first try ever for Great Britain. Again, we saw a quick play the ball by Great Britain. Nice ball, Beardmore filling in. Edwards here brings big Dennis Betts, who's having his best running game I've seen for a long time. And there's Alan Tate right on the spot again. A very strong and very skillful try, albeit with some fairly feeble French defence. But then they had their say. Suspicion here of never mind the suspicion. That is an obstruction. Referee didn't perhaps see it. Very well finished off. A lovely pass right on the chest for Pons, who makes amends.
Those are the tries. Brian's also been gathering together some half-time statistics, beginning with the French missed tackles.
Well, this has been the part that's really let France down. I mean, that is just far too many. 22 missed tackles. No, that's schoolboy stuff. They really need to pick that area up. It's their first up tackles, first man in low, which is what we saw in Perpignan. We need some of that Perpignan defence back again. Great Britain's 6. That's a very good total, really, for a half a game in Test football. They've done particularly well there. Malcolm Reilly's been disappointed with their control of possession. They have finished off their sets of 6 with too many errors, but the French have really made far too many errors on early tackles, and they'll have to pick that area up. Jacques Jourda will be having plenty to say in French in there at the moment, and most of it will be about eliminating defensive and attacking errors.
Well, while the big men take a rest at half-time, we can show you a brief glimpse of the stars of the future. An under-11s game between Durham City in the blue against Rotherhithe from Southwark in London. Rugby League spreading the word. Brian Smith, you fancy buying a couple of these players? A referee, incidentally, 13-year-old Robert Shaw from Wakefield. It's nice to see. Let's take a look at the French stars of today. They're on foreign soil. They must regroup and come out fighting for the second half. It's been an impressive first half performance from them, but Great Britain are leading by 12 points to 8 at half-time. We'll have the second half live after this break.
Live from the second test match at Headingley, Great Britain leading France by 12 points to 8. The second half just seconds old, and Britain on the attack with Mike Gregory, looking to start this second period as they started the first. Carl Fairbank. Gregory. Keith England. Here's Skerritt. Edwards.
No, not Great Britain.
Molinaire doing the necessary. Big test of the French defence in the opening minutes here. Stedman. Gregory is seeing a lot of the ball. Edwards. Stedman. Gibson. Held up well by Delaunay. Fifth tackle. This is a big play. Edwards. Ooh, it just spilled behind the try line. Went forward, so it'll be a drop out from beneath the post.
It's a big error that. Actually, it wasn't a Sean Edwards' best kick, that one. The ball was really well placed right into the belly and really should have been taken by Fraser. Instead of it being a 22 tap, we've now got a goal line drop out and Great Britain back on attack again.
Dumas looking for as much length as he can. It'll be Dennis Betts. Interesting to know what was said in the Great Britain dressing room at half-time. Phil Larder, the National Director of Coaching, can tell us.
Well, we weren't happy with our ball control. We clocked 12 errors. So the most important thing is ball control and an increased intensity, particularly faster play the balls.
You've always got your intensity there. Alan Tate had hung on to Skerritt's pass. What was the difference between the first quarter and the second quarter, Phil? You started the match so well.
Yeah, there was a bit of a fall off. Again, we started making errors, particularly early in the tackle count. We had 2 tries disallowed, and we found it difficult to build up on a solid foundation.
Well, they've got the foundation of a 4-point lead to build on at the start of this second half, but France are in possession with Daniel Divet. These two prop forwards, Rabot and Boutignol, are not customers you'd care to cross in a dark alley. Ooh, much room, actually. Here's Dumas. Ooh, that was nearly picked off by Gibson. Edwards has claimed it. Ball's gone forward.
Dumas made the right decision not to pass on the short man, but really should have. He's got a bit of a habit of getting around the back of that player if he overruns him. I thought that was another obstruction there.
Scrum move on the blind side. Gregory to a fire.
Thinks he's still in France. He's driving on the other side of the road, I think, Clive.
Skerritt. He'll take it right up the middle lane. Edwards. Stedman. Schofield. Tate in the line again. Once more he's dropped it.
Very un-Tate like that, isn't it? It gets in a hole like that. It's usually shut the gate, puts the ball across the line very quickly, but his hands have let him down on 2 occasions there.
Well, let's scrum down. And a rather low-key match so far. It's been simmering. It's promised things. Great Britain promised a lot in the first 20 minutes. France fought back well. It's nicely balanced. One of these two sides can just find another gear. This match is there for the taking. Molinaire.
Great yardage, that. Great yardage. Quick play the ball needed. No, he slowed it down well. Mike Gregory in charge of that play the ball.
Mike Gregory was top tackler in the series against New Zealand. He was top tackler again in Perpignan in the first test match. Alan Tate. Now he's got it in his hands. A bold and exciting runner. Edwards. Hasn't quite taken the game by the scruff of the neck yet, Sean Edwards. He's had a proving sort of match. Always difficult. He's got a new half-back partner here in Graham Steadman. New number on his own jersey, really. Coming the third time that Edwards has played scrum half for Great Britain. But there are so many good men outside him. Gary Schofield, a prolific scorer, very pacey. On fire, we know all about. Steadman can rattle up the points, but they've just got to try and form the sort of platform where they can throw it wide with confidence. Here is Schofield. Gibson did well to hold on to that. Good pass. Ball's come loose again, though, in the tackle.
Great tackle by Delano there. He really pushed hard to get right across. Showed Gibson how to tackle. He really did. It jolted the ball free as a double bonus.
Valero. Well, two Frenchmen chosen for the rest of the world team, which played Great Britain a couple of years ago. That's how highly he's regarded in the game, the French number 9. Divet, one of the young stags of this French Renaissance in possession. Cabestany, what a tackle that was. Dennis Betts.
Just hold on to this for a minute. I think he might hold on to it for the rest of the game.
And Dumas, no, I was going to say straight to touch. I should know better. Inch perfect. Cabestany, 20, the youngest player in the team. And even when you're 20, you feel these.
How many ribs have you got, Clive?
One more than him.
It's a man's game, this one.
He's just completing his military service. Cabestany is a year is compulsory in France. Although if you're an outstanding young sportsman, then you do very little during that year other than play sport. Rather stern faces there on the Great Britain bench. Mal Reilly, the coach, in the jacket. 8 minutes of the second half gone. His team still lead by 12 points to 8. And they found themselves involved in another close test match with the French. Graham Steadman. O'Fire. 5 tackles. Steadman again. Cyril Pons, the French try scorer. Now I say, if there'd been a blue jersey at his shoulder there would have been problems. Offside, Great Britain. Dennis Betts. Jim Stokes just giving them another reminder at the start of this second half. They must retire 5 metres. You've got to have breathing space to play this game well, and the offside rule has got to be carefully applied. They'll go for goal to David Fraisse again. And if his straight-on action is successful again here, the gap will be reduced to just 2 points. Recently been offered £50,000 and a job to turn to rugby union, David Fraisse. That's the amateur game, remember. And the ball's fallen over. The animated Jacques Jourdain.
Got a feeling today, Clive, that the decisions of the two coaches here could even decide who wins this game. Be interesting to see which of their 4 subs, remembering they're only allowed 2, which ones come off the bench and do the business.
Long enough. It's straight down the middle. France have found themselves a goal kicker. Yeah. Ali. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Great Britain 12, France 10. Every bit as tight as it was in Perpignan 3 weeks ago. Onta. Valero. Dumas. BNS. Now to Cyril Pons. Away from Caudle, it was a poor tackle. St. Edwards at back. Now he's got men inside of him if he could just offloaded it. He has done. And it's going to be a try for Rabault. And France have taken the lead. And look at the celebrations. This could be the greatest moment in French Rugby League for 30 years. Woo! Jean-Luc Rabault, first try in International Rugby League. He's crying. Well, they've had to fight everything to keep the game alive in France, and a victory in Britain would mean everything to them.
This was a really smart play by Dumas. He spotted down the short side, no right defensive centre. Fairbank was caught all at sea. Caudle didn't know which way to go. He turned him inside and out. He's done the business here. Look at Pons, ball in the wrong hand. Ah, that's a pathetic tackle. Absolutely pathetic. You get back to rugby union and learn how to tackle before you come and do that for Great Britain. And Pons stays alive. Look at this. Number 10 on the boil. That's a great support. No wonder he's crying. I'm almost there myself. Great stuff, France.
So fresh to try and improve the try by Rabault. It's very exciting to see French Rugby League being revived with kicks like that. But there are some major question marks now for Great Britain to answer.
There's some activity on that bench now. Bishop's up, Sean Irwin's up, and I tell you what, Malcolm really will be up himself shortly because there's just not that urgency that he asked for. We heard Phil Larder say to us, they weren't urgent enough. The game slipped away from them. A good opening, but they really need to come back. Look at the urgency here. Where's the British cover here? Pons inside and out. Ball in the wrong hand. By puts it in two, fakes it away. Tate lines him up well. But where's the cover? There should be more. Look in the background, Fairbank. We still haven't seen Caudle. You're playing for your country, boys. Chase the ball. It's all France. 1, 2, 3. Who wants to score it? Dennis Betts has got some pride, but it's too late.
And I think the very same message will be coming from the Great Britain bench. There are more than 12 places on the line now for the likes of young Sean Irwin here. Somebody's got to make a name for himself.
He's a fine player, this lad, too. One of the best in this country, I reckon.
Caudle's coming off. Edwards, though. There's a lion's heart still beating beneath his jersey. France leading by 16 points to 12. And remember, they haven't won a test match on British soil since March 1967. Edwards. Skerritt. Edwards. Fifth tackle. Steadman. Now, can a fire claim anything? Can Fairbank claim anything? Well, it's 6 more tackles anyway.
Reflexes too slow. France have got to tighten up as well. There's a long way to go yet in this test.
Schofield. Gerald Caudle. Pons has got him put into touch. And that will be Gerald Caudle's last contribution to this game.
Say goodbye, Gerald.
And his international debut, which started with a dream score, is to be cut short because Sean Irwin, the Great Britain under-21 captain from Castleford, will replace the big Welsh winger.
Gibson will go under the wing here, I would think. Yeah, that's the message. Irwin's brought the message. You off on the wing, boy. I'll show you how to do it here. He can run with the ball, this lad, and a tough defender too. Castleford boy through and through, this lad.
France have the ball. Dumas. Pons. Taken well by Stedman. Fairback ripped it clear there. The ball went down. Fairback thought he went forward. Bit of edge about the match now. Great Britain have got to find something like that. Kabastani.
Bad decision, Dumas. Kick the ball. Get the ball down the other end. Make England get back behind it.
Valero almost broke the tackles again then.
Now get rid of it. Get rid of that ball. Ontat will do the business. Ah, yeah.
Ontat. It's a good kick in behind Carl Gibson.
Perfect
Alan
kick.
Tate's across there, and it's run into the dead ball area.
It's cruel of football, isn't it? Just one bounce too many for them.
Malcolm really down on the bench. We've got to find out what your team have made of now.
That's dead right, yes. Unfortunately, we didn't provide the defence on that left flank over there, and they scooted in for a good try. But defence is our main problem at the moment. The instruction at half-time was to get the ball wide to Graham Stedman, and I believe if we do that, we can have the opportunities out wide.
Bit more pride and passion too.
Definitely, yes.
Malcolm really watching on, the most concerned spectator inside Headingley now. Edwards.
He's really trying to probe a hole, Edwards. And so far, the French have done well to shut him down.
Stedman. Fresh. Oh, look at this. He's away from Skerritt. Now, where's the support for David Fresh? It's a great ball if Dumas can collect it. Oh, it had gone forward. Delaunay thought he was in.
Delaunay was pleading with him to centre kick the ball. Just centre kick it. Some poor defence on a great kick by Stedman. A very poor chase. Very poor defence by Martin Afire. Our two wingers can score great tries, but you've got to contribute as well in the defensive department. Frace really showed why everybody's interested in this lad. We might get him out of that military duty yet, someone in England.
Great Britain looking ragged at the moment. Stedman. Here's Sean Irwin. Under 21 captain. Tremendous acceleration. The test down at Liddishaw, he was the quickest player in the squad over 15 metres. Quicker even than O'Fire over that short distance. Opportunities knocking for a few of these lads now. Alan Tate. He's international class, all right. Ooh, but he's lost the ball again. That error count rising by the minute. Here's Kabastani running it back for France. Divé.
Fancies that left foot step, Divé, doesn't he? He's really trying to probe a hole back behind to play the ball.
Molinaire. Dennis Betts has tackled well. Ontar, not that on. Just over 20 minutes left to play. France 20 minutes away from a historical victory for Jacques Jourdain. Surely Britain have got enough quality to prevent that from happening. Carl Gibson of Leeds. This game very live now. Headingley the scene of a test match which really has come to the boil. Dennis Betts hasn't done his claims any harm today. Britain have got David Bishop already to come on for his test debut. But France are here to spoil the party. Onta. Rabot.
They don't need that Gaelic flair now. They need some good old-fashioned percentage football. Control the ball, play out six. Never mind another try. It'll come if they hold the ball for long enough, and they'll play out the time, put more pressure on Great Britain. that sort of error they can do without. Great Britain are going to get possession. They've just got to keep the ball away from them now.
So David Bishop of Hull Kingston Rovers replaces Kelvin Skerritt. And Bishop will go into the pack, and that's interesting. He's operated mainly at half-back for Hull Kingston Rovers this season, but he's binding down at number 13 for Britain. And that's where Mal Reilly and Phil Larder believe that his future lies. And his future's got to happen pretty quickly for the Great Britain cause at the moment.
It's a great tussle between these two sevens.
Carl Fairbank. Now he can offload the ball. Bishop was there in support.
Tackle Molyneux.
Edwards. Fifth tackle. David Bishop, former Welsh Rugby Union international. Beardmore. Alan Tate in pursuit. Needs a good bounce. Bounce, in fact, off the upright. And dead. 18 minutes left to play. France leading Great Britain by 16 points to 12.
Yeah, this is a real test of work rate from here to the end of the game. We're in the championship rounds, but the French are winning on points at the moment. Valeri, Rabot, Molyneux, Divet, all 5, 6, Dumas, top 5, 5 of the top 6 are French players. There's a message there for you, Malcolm.
Two substitutes have been used by Malcolm Reilly, David Bishop there and Sean Irwin. Kelvin Skerritt seems to be nursing a knee problem.
Well, I'm disappointed with Dumas here. I feel he and Omtap should be kicking the ball, not making these errors back down here. This is going to play Great Britain back into this game. We're only one break away from losing when they're in a winning position for the first time in donkey's years.
Edwards, Stedman, Gary Schofield, a little bit of daylight. Dumas doing the defensive work that time. Stedman, Mike Gregory, penalty, France offside. Now do they kick it? Surely they've got to try. Edwards just confirming with the referee. Stedman will go for goal. It's not a popular decision, but Great Britain have just got to stop the rot somehow, get some points on the board and get moving in the right direction again. Stedman's Yorkshire teammate, Derek Fox, on with the bucket. Had a badly broken cheekbone in December, Stedman, which really set his season back. You may remember Gary Charlton, who, the perpetrator of the crime, was suspended sine die by the Rugby League. He's right back in form now with Castleford. And he's got Great Britain back to within 2 points. It was a good decision. Great Britain 14, France 16. And we've got some 16 minutes to play.
Again, if I were Jacques Jourda, I'd have somebody on in this forward pack. I think some of their people are just starting to tire a little. It's no good being loyal to them. Jacques to run second. If they're good enough to be on the bench, surely they can come into the game now.
Mal Reilly has lost a World Cup final here in his days as a player. Great Britain against Australia back in 1970. David Bishop losing the ball. Molyneux. BNS.
It's not been a great day for our rugby union converts today, has it?
Dumas. Divet. Press.
Should be setting up for at least 1 point here, but the main thing is it must play up 5 tackles with a kick on the end of it, either a drop goal or a ball into the in-goal area.
Divet. Schofield saw that. Gabastani.
Here it is. What's their play?
It's the 5th tackle. Back to Dumas. Attempted drop goal. He's kicked it. Gilles Dumas following Brian Smith's instructions to the letter.
He's back in my good books there, but I still didn't think it was a great set of 6 plays. The French must go forward. They're in a winning position, and they must learn how to... I guess you can't be too hard on them, Clive. It's a long time since they've been in this position. They must learn how to win as well, and sticking it through the goalpost like that has now removed the chance of a draw from a penalty goal by Great Britain. Smart play, France.
Great Britain 14, France 17. 14 minutes left to play. Cyril Pons. This game stays this close. Great Britain will be taking a long, hard look at the try he scored in the first half. It was dubious, to say the least. There's been nothing dubious about the French commitment since half-time. These two prop forwards have done some graft, Rabot and Boutignon. Got away with that.
That's the way.
There's Dumas's kick. Oh, I say it's another pearl.
Someone can find out an easier way to make 70 metres than that. I like to hear about it.
He began his Test career as a fullback. That's where the kicking skills have come from. David Bishop. Stedman. Needs to be a little wider out than that. Dennis Betts. Just a bit pedestrian in one place at the moment. Fairbank. Keith England. Now it's 5 tackles. This is where Great Britain have got to find a good kick or some invention. I don't think Dennis Betts was expecting that. Fraisse. Now he let it bounce, and it's bounced into Ratier's hands. Tired, one or two of the French boys now. Valero doesn't know, and Dumas up in support of him, and Onta's up there too. Dumas well taken by Alan Tate as well, that he would made the tackle. Molinaire, Fraisse, unloaded to Molinaire beautifully. Onta's there. It's Rabot again, is it? Oh, on his own. He might have used his prop forward. Molinaire. Boutignon. Divé. They've done it again.
Easy.
It's a walking try. It's a day to be French. The smiles are understandable, but really the Great Britain cover there was pedestrian.
They're just not urgent enough, Clive. They had 3 chances after a very early break on this play. They had 3 chances to regroup and kill the ball. Danny Divé, it's a long way from Manly Beach, son. He's just as happy. Molinaire had so much time to find a runner. A lovely short little ball and a good catch by Divé. But just too many holes there. There's that width of that passing again from Ontat, and Molinaire again. Stayed alive, did Fraisse. Molinaire backs up. There's French everywhere. Ontat has players to pick from. Ooh, maybe. Now, a good decision, Ontat. A quick play the ball, get the ball on the ground. Molinaire looks left, looks right. He checks out the whole scene. Look how much time. He's got time, bags of time. And that's an easy, as you said, it's a walk-in try.
Daniel Divé's first in international rugby. There are a lot of firsts this afternoon. France are looking at their first win over Great Britain for 5 years. They lead 21-14 with this reasonably straightforward kick from Fraisse to come. 9-point gap. Inside the last 10 minutes. They know they're very close. And Jacques Jourda, the French coach, enjoyed that more than anybody.
Coaching has its ups and downs, but this is through the roof.
Now come on, Britain. 2 scores. 9 minutes to find them. Mark Reilly was saying to me this morning he's made his mind up about 21 or the 22 of the 28 places available on the tour. That number may just have gone down a little bit now. Obviously there's Hanley, obviously there's Gregory, obviously there's Lydon, obviously there's Loughlin, but they're not here today. And Great Britain have got to find men who can take their places. And that's Dumas' first back kick of the day. Now Edwards and Co, what can you do from here?
There's still time for them to get back into this game. It's not over yet, but they will need to do something in the set of 6, something really special.
Edwards, Stedman, Martin O'Fire, he was tackled almost before he had the ball. And he's the last man in this crowd who needs telling what this scoreline at the moment means to British Rugby League.
Every time you see one of those coaches smiling, there's always the reciprocal, isn't there? Malcolm's on the other end today.
Edwards, good break. Martin O'Fire looking for a try. He's scored in every test match so far this season. He's just following the ball at the moment. David Bishop. Good break. Gary Schofield. Carl Gibson. Held 3 yards short. Now come on, Britain. Beardmore. Taken high by Boutignon. It was an ugly sort of tackle. Beardmore none the worse for it. France caught 5 metres again. Great Britain have got to run it, got to. Ball knocked out of Edwards' hands there. Frey's trying to slow it all down. Mike Gregory, he'll take responsibility. Beardmore, Edwards, short ball to Fairbank. 5 yards away from the first of the 2 scores Britain have to get. Edwards, Stedman, Bishop. Go on, David Bishop. Carl Gibson's there. Pass wasn't the best.
French defence stretched, but they stretched all the way with it. Some very good defence on the outside. They really slid out well, pushed them out over the touchline. England had a 3-on-2, but French were good enough to close it down. Dumas in trouble in the background. He's limping.
6 minutes left to play. France have a 9-point lead. And the ball. Cyril Pons. Onta. Valero. Dennis Betts again, low down. Molinaire. Got to be some big hits here. They've got to force mistakes. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Onta. Dumas. Bishop got a hand to it. Scooped up by Betts. Now, maybe. Stedman.